Hey everybody, I'm Edie and you are Cooking with Guy's Girl. So today we're going to talk about something that I make all the time. As I've shared with you in the past, my husband and I really like to entertain. And my favorite way of entertaining is to do it more with lots of hors d'oeuvres or appetizers, not necessarily to make one big dinner. And the reason that I like doing that is because there's always something for someone. So whether we're having a bunch of people over for game night or my husband's having the boys over for Monday Night Football, this is really my preference. So today we're going to talk about the one thing that I make no matter what type of appetizers I make, because I do change it depending on who's coming over. But this, which is my big, beautiful antipasto, I make this each and every time, and I kind of build everything else around it. So for this, I really need to, as always, I want you to watch me wash my hands because we're going to be playing with the food, and we always want to make sure that it looks good. Now, my big, beautiful antipasto is kind of like famous. When people invite me to go to their house, they don't want me to bring a dessert. They want me to bring this. So this is going to be really simple, and we're going to start it with, I have here a container of spring mix, and I'm going to put this right in the middle of my beautiful platter. Now, you know, all the time I talk about having a really nice dish or a nice platter. I think I bought this platter at Home Goods for like $8. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it makes the whole presentation look so much different and so much more prettier. So I put the spring mix for two reasons. One, it's going to be the vessel where I'm going to tuck in the different meats that I'm going to put in here. And then it also adds height to the antipasto. So you're going to see I have a bunch of different things. I have different cold cuts. I have a whole bunch of different types of olives. I have some fresh mozzarella, some cherry tomatoes, some pepperoncini, and then I have some marinated artichokes, mushrooms, and some other peppers. Again, there's going to be something here that someone likes out of this whole antipasto. So the very first thing I'm going to work with is the meat. Now today I chose Genoa salami, mortadella with pistachios, and provolone. And this is going to be really easy. So I'm going to take first the salami, and I'm going to roll it into a little tube. And then I'm going to stick it on underneath the spring mix. So I'm going to go all around and do that, all the way around the entire antipasto. So I am just going all around the plate. I'm rolling up my little rolls of salami. And again, remember I said how the spring mix acts as a vessel that I can tuck in the meat. And then when I said before about height, you know, height in when you're not only displaying your different appetizers, but when you're displaying anything, the different heights of the food is what really adds to the beauty of it. So I am just rolling around on the salami, and I'm sticking it every which way underneath the spring mix. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I get a bunch of salami around the entire platter. Okay, so now you can see I put the salami all around the platter. Now I'm going to move to my mortadella, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to roll it into a little round mortadella, and I'm going to stick a piece next to each piece of salami that I've already rolled. Again, now the mortadella you're going to see, and we talk about, you know, different heights and different lengths. The mortadella is actually longer than the salami, so it's not going to be uniform, so it's going to look even prettier. So I'm going to go around this entire platter with the rolled mortadella. Okay, so I'm still going around the plate with the mortadella. And you know, if you're not Italian and you really don't know what mortadella is, the best way that I can describe it, it's kind of like an Italian bologna. It's pork, and it has little pieces of fat in it. And then this one has actually pistachios. You can get it without the pistachios, but I just think that's so decadent. And so it really, to me, it tastes like an upscale bologna. I'm sure all my Italian friends out there are probably having an agita thinking that I'm describing it like that, but most Italians just love mortadella. So when you think about it, we've got mortadella, we've got Genoa salami, and then the last thing that we're going to add is provolone. And again, this is going to be, there's always, maybe somebody doesn't know what mortadella is or isn't going to like it, but they love salami. So then they've got salami. Or maybe somebody is, really not into meat cold cuts at all, and maybe they're just going to go for the cheese. But again, my point being is that no matter what someone likes or doesn't like, there's always something on an antipasto that people are going to eat. To me, there's nothing more important when I know certain people are coming over. I know who doesn't like one thing or who doesn't like another. And to me, cooking is really love. And so if I know that somebody is coming over and they really like one thing or they don't like another, I kind of go out of my way to just make sure that they have something to know that, I know she went out of her way to make this for me because, not everybody necessarily eats this. It sometimes drives my husband crazy because what it does, it forces me to even cook even more. But again, just taking that extra step to just tell somebody like, I'm so glad you came to my home. I'm so glad you're giving me the ability to cook for you. Okay, so around the entire platter now, we've got the salami and we've got the mortadella, and now we're gonna add the provolone cheese. Now, we're gonna do the exact same thing with the provolone cheese, but cheese is a little more difficult to roll, and it tends to crack. But hey, this is not a perfect thing. It's just gonna look delicious. So we're gonna make a roll, and we're gonna stick it in between all of the meat, all around the platter. Now, a lot of times, this can be an appetizer to a meal if you were going to have like a dinner party or whatnot. Again, 90% of the time when I make a big antipasto like this, it's part of a whole sort of mishmash of a whole bunch of appetizers and, snacky food. And that's really like my favorite way to kind of have people come over. They're all standing around, usually in the kitchen. They have what they're drinking, they're noshing, and they're talking. And again, there's, to me, because cooking is like just brings everybody together and whatnot, I think it's just the perfect way to start a party or a dinner party where everybody's just kind of picking and noshing and talking. So again, I'm just going around. Now you can see already how beautiful this antipasto is starting to look, and we haven't even done anything yet. So I'm just going to keep going around with the cheese and putting it in between all of the meats. So again, I'm still going around with the mortadella. And again, remember I said about the different height and the different sizes of the cold cuts and whatnot. As you can see, everything is starting to come together and it's adding more 3D to the whole process. Now you may be saying to yourself, oh my gosh, this takes so much effort. It really doesn't. I keep stopping because I'm teaching you how to make this. But really, this meat could be done in like less than 2 minutes. Because remember my philosophy, it has to be easy, it has to be delicious, and it has to be pretty. So we are right now working on the pretty and we're working on the easy. And I'm just gonna put a few more pieces of provolone and just look how this antipasto is coming together. Now look, I know there's a lot of people who take, a bunch of salami and provolone and a bunch of olives, slap it on a plate and say, oh yeah, this is my antipasto. You know what? If you do that, that's okay. I don't, whatever, if that's your thing. But to me, look at this. Look at this. This is so much different. And I'm telling you that when people come to my house, especially those for the first time, and they see this antipasto, they're like, holy cannoli, what the heck? Because it looks so appetizing. It looks like I've spent, hours upon hours putting it together. And look, in that real quick time, now we've already done the meat. Okay, so I'm gonna put the meat aside. Now I shared with you a lot of the things that we're gonna put on this, and a lot of you can pick and choose the things that you like to put on your antipasto. I put the things that I like to eat, but I'm also keeping color in mind. So look, I've got white and red and green here. I've got kind of like, the artichokes and the mushrooms with some red. And then I've got a whole slew of different color olives. Now, this is the fun part. There's no rhyme or reason to this. Let me just tell you, I'm gonna take some black olives and I'm gonna throw them on my antipasto just anywhere. Some on the cold cut, some on the spring mix. Look, I'm just layering those black olives. Okay. Now I'm going to take some green olives. Do the same thing. I'm just going to throw them all over the place. Now really, how easy can this be? This is not, rocket science here, folks. And now I'm thinking, okay, so, and remember, you're also putting it on top of the spring mix. So now I think I need a little red because now I've gone green and I've gone black. And now I need a little color, a little spritz. And remember, you're just going to keep layering and layering this until it's gone. And it's going to be this high and it's just going to be so impressive. Okay, so we've got red and we got green and we got black. You know what? Let's put some white mozzarella balls here. Look, watch how this is going to start popping. Easy peasy, easy peasy. All right, so I'm gonna go back. I haven't put any pepperoncini yet, so I'm just gonna sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. Look how pretty, 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 pretty. Okay, then we're gonna put, these are my favorite. These are marinated artichoke hearts. I am sorry, I can eat these out of the jar. They are just so delicious. Now, one thing I forgot to tell you, all of these things that I'm adding to this antipasto, I drained them all and patted them dry. The last thing you want is a wet antipasto. So, you know, like the fresh mozzarella comes in water, drain it, pat it. The olives, they come in olive oil, drain them and pat it. There should be nothing wet on your antipasto. Okay, so we've got the artichoke hearts. Now we're going to add some marinated mushrooms. How pretty. I get so excited. Now we need a little red again. So let's put these little pepper things that I love. These are tart and sweet all at the same time. All right. So I think we did one round of everything so far. So now we're going to start again. We got these olives. And you'll notice I have big olives. I have small olives. You know, again, I'm trying to make everything look different so it looks like there's, a ton of stuff on here. We need a little white again. You feeling my flow here? This is just like, look how beautiful it is already. Let's go back with some artichoke hearts again. Some of those peppers. And some of those marinated mushrooms. Now look, I keep piling depending on how many people I have coming. So, and if I don't use some of this stuff, I just put it in a container and I use it on another day. Now, a great way to serve this is with just some nice Italian bread on the side. I always make sure that I have olive oil and a balsamic glaze bottle of each. So if people want to dress this, I don't really think it needs to be dressed because there's so much pickling and stuff from all of the olives and the different things that we have going on. There's like vinegar and stuff on it. But some people like to put a little more olive oil or a little balsamic glaze, and you just have that aside. And then again, you know, have some nice Italian bread that people can eat this with. But as you can see, this beautiful concoction has come together, you know, in less than what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever. Look how magnificent. And again, be honest, I'm being really truthful. When people will ask me to come to their house, they don't ask me to make a cake. They're like, can you bring your antipasto? And I'm like, sure. All right. I think that looks good. What do you think? So I'm going to put all this other stuff aside. I'll eat it on another day and, you know, put it aside or make something else with it. But remember, my whole philosophy around cooking is that it should be easy. This was really, really easy. It should be pretty. And I think this is nicer than pretty. I think this is actually beautiful. And it should be delicious. And trust me, it is delicious. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm Edie, and you've been cooking with Guy's Girl.